Hi, folks. Welcome to the Creative Nomad, presented by TrueAwesomeLife.com. I'm your host, JP Adkins, and I create this podcast because I want to tell the stories of the radicals, the ones who are out there making the world a better, more beautiful place. The amazing authors, artists, musicians, thought leaders, coaches, and yes, nomads who are out there living their true awesome lives and want to help others do the same. Are you ready to live your true awesome life? Go to TrueAwesomeLife.com and start your journey today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Creative Nomad. I am extremely excited today to be here with Keely Stawicki. And as I was reading that just now, I'm like, I should have asked how to pronounce it before.
You got it right.
Woo! I win the day.
You did it.
And just like today has been so amazing. If you guys are following along, True Awesome Life is merging with the Infinity Wellness Group. So we've been in this whole it's amazing. It's wonderful. It's great. So the good news is we're going to be able to give you more coaches, more help in a variety of different areas in your life. And we're so excited. Orange Dragonfly is still there. We're going to be doing some great stuff over there. But that is going under the Infinity Wellness Group umbrella also. What that does is that brings on a multitude of different people that can really help you with whatever it is that you're going through. So I'm so excited. And I'm excited to be here with Keely. She is such an amazing person, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hey guys. So thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Keely, and I currently am located in Oregon, but the last 2 years I have been traveling around Mexico, running a freelancing business. And I'm back here until December, and then I'm heading back to Mexico to enjoy the sunshine and the beach, because where I am in Oregon gets really, really cold and depressing, and I just miss the culture and the food and everything about being nomadic.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm in Detroit at the moment, and I am so ready to not be in Detroit. It's fall, and the trees are beautiful. The leaves are turning. Everything's nice. The air is a little crisp, but in another 2 weeks, it's gonna be cold.
Yeah,
and it's gray, and it's chilly, and it's wet. It's gonna rain all day today. I think last year was the first time in 20 years it didn't rain on Halloween. It's just like it's wet, it's damp, it's cold. It's that like flu, soupy weather.
Yeah.
Lovely for a couple weeks. I'm done. I'm ready. I'm ready to be back in sunshine on the beach somewhere. Also, so what made you decide to go nomadic in the first place? What was that impetus?
Yes, that's a really good question. Back in 2020, I had a piece of commercial real estate, and I had a vintage consignment store that I was running out of there. This is kind of what started the online entrepreneurship, is that I'm located in a small town, and it's very seasonal. So you get a lot of summer, and then you get the skiers and the snowboarders that come in. But there's this maybe about a third of the year, it's pretty dead. And so I was trying to figure out a way to scale my business in a way that was like more automated. And I started a course, and I sold a course and made a podcast and did all the things, teaching people how to resell vintage online. And that was doing really, really well. But then when COVID happened, basically my reselling business just flatlined. And I had the commercial real estate also had an apartment attached to it. And I had a RV parking spot on the side too that I rented out. So it was making good money. But those tenants decided they didn't have to pay me anymore because of COVID. They were like, oh, because of COVID, we don't have to pay you anymore. And I was like, I still have to pay my mortgage and all the utilities. And so after 4 months of this, I mixed with some other financial crisis from a past relationship. Before that, I had a sawmilling business with my ex-fiance, and he also decided that he didn't want to pay the loans that my name was still on. And so after months of this, I was facing bankruptcy, and I was trying to decide whether I was going to do the type of bankruptcy where I would consolidate all the debt on top of the debt I already had and keep trying to go on with what I was already doing, or if I was going to sell off everything, break even, walk away from all of my investments and whatever gains I thought I had, and move on with my life. And this was like an incredibly difficult decision because for 10 years I had been building up my empire, and I was all proud of myself because I'm like, I'm in the 1% of my earners, and like net worth for my age, and blah blah blah, all these things like that we identify with in our Western society, things that give us identity and self-worth. But I eventually decided to just let all that stuff go because of a pivotal moment. During COVID, I never actually got COVID, but I started having all these other illnesses due to the stress that I was under. Like, it was just, I've constantly felt like I had a bag of cats and there was a hole in the bag. And so the cats kept getting out, and I would try to like wrangle all the cats, stick it back in to try to keep my stuff together. But no one was helping me. And I was just like, what is the point? So eventually I just put the bag cats down and let them all go. And because I keep having these health issues, and my doctor finally was like, hey, Keely, I think you should go on antidepressants. And at that point I was like, I don't need to medicate myself to deal with this. I need to radically change my life. Mm-hmm. And so I just decided to sell everything off, and I was going to hop Airbnbs in like Arizona or Texas, but right about that time, it got super expensive on Airbnb. It went from being like, oh, I could probably like rent a place for $700 a month, whatever, just live out of like someone's garage. No, it was like $2,500 for a single wide in the middle of the desert in like Yuma. And I was like, I'm not paying that. Like, so my boyfriend at the time, I met him salsa dancing. I always loved salsa dancing. And I asked him, I was like, he's Mexican. I was like, hey, where can I go in Mexico that I wouldn't get abducted? Because, like, that's what they tell you. They're like, you can't go to Mexico as a single female, like, you'll get abducted. Or the cartel will, like, steal, like, kidnap you and cut your finger off or whatever to send it back, extortion, your family. And he told me to go to Zihuatanejo, Ixtapa, and I'd be fine there. And so I looked up Airbnbs. I was like, oh my God, for $1,600, I can get like this fatty condo, 2 bedrooms, 3-bath condo with a pool and a view of the ocean from the balcony for $1,600. At the time, I didn't even know it was expensive. I was like, what? Compared to $2,500 in a single wide in Yuma, this sounds awesome. So I booked that. I booked a one-way ticket, and I just left.
Wow.
And I just went. But I tell you what, my first 4 days, I almost came back because I was so overwhelmed. I thought I knew more Spanish than I did. It was like being on a whole different planet, and I wasn't living in some resort. Like, this condo was far from the main strip, and I had to walk down this like jungle road, and I was like, someone's gonna kidnap me. And it was just like, it was a huge growth experience because I learned that the world outside the United States is not near as scary as they tell you it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the more I talk to people who are nomadic, the less I feel that the world is scary.
Yeah.
Right. And I hear it too. I hear it traveling to the United States. Right. So I was nomadic for 2 years, and in an RV, and I'm back in Detroit at the moment, waiting for my RV to be fixed. It should be literally any second now. I get a call that it's done. It's been supposed to be done for like a month now. So, but people were like, "You're gonna travel by yourself? You're gonna go all by yourself? What? Are you afraid?" I'm like, no, I'm no more afraid than I am about walking down the street.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, just because I'm here, I don't draw that kind of energy to me. People don't come and attack me.
Honestly, yeah. And honestly, I'm more afraid here than I am there. Like, I get up pretty early to go to the gym in the morning, and I go to my truck. I'm always looking around, like making sure no one's like around. And then I get in my truck and I lock the door. And when I'm in Mexico, I don't do that, actually. Like, it's very, very rare that I'm walking and I feel uneasy where I was at in Mexico than when I'm here, because here, even though Hood River is a beautiful place and the average home value is like $800,000-$900,000, there's a lot of homeless people and there's a lot of drug use. And like those are the people that like can be quite unstable. And I've seen it. But where I've been in Mexico, like you'll have the alcoholics that sleep on the beach, but they're actually like really cool. You like know them by name, you say hello, they're like funny, and you don't really feel like they're like gonna jump up behind you and like stab you for no reason.
Mhm. Yeah, there's a lot. I think that Americans as a whole don't appreciate how violent America is compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
That it doesn't go to violence first. And it's just not the thought process. You know what I mean? They might harass you, they go crazy, but they're not going to necessarily, attack.
Yeah.
And I think that it's ridiculous. So you had this amazing business that was going on back home. You had to do bankruptcy. What is it that you do now to make money being nomadic?
Yeah, was actually able to avoid the bankruptcy by selling everything off, which was great. But that meant that when I went to Mexico, I didn't have a whole lot to fall back on. So because I had been doing some online stuff, I'd been building these websites called funnels. I doing some digital marketing for my own businesses and selling courses. I was like, and I had other entrepreneurial friends that were starting to ask me like, hey, can you help me with my funnel? Because my lead gen funnels were always the ones that were outperforming everybody else's. Like they did really well. And so I was getting paid like I started out like $50 an hour. Then I worked my way up to $75 an hour. And then before I knew it, I was making like $125 an hour just doing consulting on these lead gen funnels. And so I had a lot of confidence that I was like, oh, I could just take this and make it into a bigger business. And that's essentially what I did. It's evolved many times. Originally was agency style where I was building funnels for other people. And then I moved away from that. I started teaching people how to build their funnels. And then I moved away from that and I blew up on TikTok. And I started teaching how to use TikTok how to monetize TikTok for coaches and course creators. And then I got tired of talking about TikTok, and now I've turned my agency into a partnership. We're now serving local businesses in my area here in Oregon, in Hood River. And I'm starting to move into dating and relationship coaching for women because relationships always been a struggle in my own life. I've been through a tremendous amount of healing and counseling and training, all this stuff to understand emotional intelligence and attachment style and all those things that go into really understanding yourself in relationships. So I'm moving into that. So I have these like two different things that are happening.
Yeah, that's just amazing. And I think that what is it like working, because you're the second person I've talked to that have started doing online things for local businesses, right? And I think that it's extremely smart, right? To really leverage wherever you are in a way that makes that work. How do you start doing that? Like, what do you say to people when you walk in? Like, let's say that you're calling a business or you're walking in a business. What do you say to them to start that conversation?
Yeah, well, honestly, I really don't like cold contacting. I don't like walking into businesses and like bugging them because as a former brick and mortar business owner, I remember the annoyance of like people walking in and trying to sell me a service or whatever when I'm in the middle of trying to juggle a million other things. And maybe I'm stressed out that day or I'm just like want a break from talking to people and now you're talking to me and whatever. So if you have the personality where you can be super annoying and you don't empathize with that, like go in and do that kind of stuff. What I like to do is go to like networking events and also do like free workshops so they come to me and it's kind of more service, like a free service in that way. So it makes it a lot easier too to have them come to you because then you're like so yeah, that's what we've been doing is in this partnership we have started to do a local giveaway. This is kind of like our entry point to get attention from the business owners. So we're doing this service extremely cheap, basically at cost. So we're asking the local businesses to give us an item to offer in a giveaway. Then we're splitting the cost of ads among all the businesses. So we're asking them to donate either $50, $100, or $200. And then we're creating custom ads for them, and we're running local ads like Facebook and Instagram ads to the local community. And then it will be giving all of the emails that we collect via this giveaway to all the businesses that participated. So we're going to then have a networking event night where we hand over the list of emails and educate them on how to utilize this asset we just handed them, and show them the results of each ad and how much attention they got, and prove to them that we can get them results before they even pay us anything, really.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, again, as someone who had a brick and mortar business, I invested in radio ads, in print advertising, both in like magazines and in direct mail. And I tell you what, those advertisers don't care at all about the businesses. They just want to sell the packages and whatever. And you never really can see the results from it. Like, there's no data behind radio ads. Like, you can't be in someone's car and be like, oh, this person listened to for 5 seconds and then tuned out. No, Facebook ads, you can see that. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to prove to them via the service that what we're doing actually matters, and it can get results before we ask for the sale.
Yeah. And I think that it's funny because I did marketing pretty much my whole life, right? That was what my degree is in. And I've done it in various different ways. I actually worked with Pizza Hut for years on their local marketing.
That's
so
cool.
Did things like direct mail and all the radio and all that, and was in those kind of conversations. And while you can pick how well they performed, because you can put a funky coupon out there, right?
Yeah.
But you can't necessarily pick how they were received as well as you can online.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that, and actually right now, when do you listen to a radio?
I know. I don't listen to commercials. I pay for YouTube Premium, and I don't.
Like,
that's $15 I ever spent.
Yeah, it's Spotify. Like, I hear a Spotify commercial. YouTube is, I don't pay for YouTube Premium. I've decided that I can live with the 30 seconds that I have to deal with a commercial most of the time. But yeah. And then I hear a commercial, or I'll be at someone else's house and I hear a commercial. And the worst part is right now it's political season. So,
oh my God, I know.
Yeah. I was at a friend's house for a few days, and they were watching TV, and like, I don't watch TV. Like, I stream everything. So I went, what are you like? And then picking apart the political ads because I have to.
I know, right?
Like, why are you saying that? Like, I understand this side. I understand this, right? I don't agree with this side. And I know that this isn't what actually happened. But this side is just saying stupid things in their commercial. Like, you're going to get that one elected because your commercial sucks. Like, and you have no languaging. Like,
yeah, the political ads make me so mad because they're so. I don't understand how anyone can listen to them and not get mad about the commercial itself. It doesn't matter what side is talking; they all make me angry.
Yeah. I think that, you know, I don't like it this in so political space, but it's just a way of noticing that you don't have to tear someone down necessarily. This is the best advice I'll ever give anybody. The less you tear people down and the more you give vision, the better you will be. I am not in competition with anyone in my business. There are a million coaches out there, and there are a million people that do a really great job.
Yeah.
And the right one will find you. You will find the right one, hopefully. Yeah. Right? I'm not in competition with them. If you're meant to me, you're meant to me. So I don't have to go and like say, well, this person sucks, or this methodology sucks, or this
person's connected to this person, therefore this person's a bad person.
Right. I don't need that. Right. It has nothing. Now I can tell you why I choose different things. right? And I think that that is what's missing, and being able to have a discourse that isn't all heated and like get violent. And
Mhm.
and even us, as we just talked about it, right? We both said how angry we get at political commercials at this point because we've been so polarized
Mhm.
that it doesn't even matter which side it is, that we get angry. And so then
Yeah.
we're angry at each other. If you say, a talking point from one of the commercials and you just want to go poof all
Yeah.
over somebody.
It makes people so emotional. And yeah, I could go on forever about the the psychology of politics, but it's for another time.
But well, the reason why I wanted to kind of talk about that, and I was kind of bringing it into, but because your ads, as we do ads, advertising and messaging and things like that, it's things to look out for,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely. Like stay away from the fear tactics and the pointing fingers. And also I believe in marketing, especially as we head into a little bit of economic turmoil. People are sick of the whole the standard marketing ploy, which is, stick a knife in and twist it when it comes to pain points.
Mm-hmm.
People are really reacting better to comedy, to hope, to togetherness, more so than trying to scare people all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's such, we're afraid enough. We don't need to
Hmm.
be any more scared.
Yeah, naturally humans are afraid, and it's really crazy how especially in Western culture, how ingrained fear is, how it's taught so young. Because I was invited like in 2019, to speak to a freshman class about having a business. And I went in there, and all of the questions they asked me were all about, what is the worst thing that's happened? What is the worst thing that can happen? Like, those were the type of questions that they asked me, instead of like, oh my gosh, this is possible, or how do you do this? It was like, how do you avoid the failure of it?
You don't. That's a glory because you learn from failure.
Yeah. Well, and there's really no, like, failure is the kind of this like funny word, because really, what is failure? Because if you get up and try again and do it again, you're really not failing at anything.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I agree. You don't. The biggest failure is to quit.
Yeah.
And I think that there's so many things that can be said around that, about not quitting, just not quitting your life, not quitting your dream. And this route might not get there, but that will.
Well, it'll lead to something else.
Right.
Because, a lot of times people ask, like, oh, if you can go back and like change things, would you avoid that bad relationship? Would you avoid losing all that money or whatever? And when I think about it, it'd be like, no, because if I hadn't been in a position where I lost, everything I'd worked for a decade, I wouldn't have gone on this amazing journey throughout Mexico and had the growth experiences that I had. And I feel like I'm an entirely different person now, so much more aware, so much more healed than I was when I originally arrived.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't have happened if the catalyst hadn't gone off.
Right. That's so true. And it's funny because I was talking last night about my brain surgery. Back in 97, I had brain surgery. And before that, my family didn't. My family did not have a computer in the house until after I graduated high school.
Hmm.
So I didn't learn computers like that. I had a basic knowledge of a DOS. I don't think I've ever worked on a Windows system, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And if I did, it was like 3.1, right? Um, so when I had my brain surgery, one of the things that was available at the time is that you can lock colors into your browser,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't read. Like, I was very photosensitive, so I couldn't read, I couldn't watch TV, I couldn't do any of that. But by locking the colors and the contrast differently, I could actually be online and I could talk to people. And back then there were chat rooms, and you could, like, WBS. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I am old. So like GeoCities. But because of that, I learned how to create websites. Because of that, I learned graphic design. Because of that, I learned all these skills that I ended up running a web development company in West Palm Beach, Florida. I ended up, so I literally leads directly to here, right, where I work completely online. And I would never have had that had I not had the brain surgery, because I will have never learned computers like that. There was no impetus for that. Maybe one day I would have picked one up, because you kind of have to in 2000, 2001. Oh, what's the computer thing? Oh, the internet, oh, cool. But I would have never, by then, chat rooms were done. And so websites were, I wouldn't have needed a website. So I'm so thankful for some of the things that happened in that time.
Yeah, that's so true. One thing leads to the next.
Definitely. So, Keely, we are coming to a close, believe it or not. It is crazy.
It went by so fast.
I know. It's like, you're such an amazing person, and I thank you for the good you're putting out in the world. I think that you are out there really making a difference for people, and I love how you're living your true awesome life. However that looks for you, right? So one last question I want to ask: other than Mexico, where's your next place you're going? You would like to go?
I want to go to Bolivia. And I want to go to Peru, and I really want to spend a month in Buenos Aires studying tango, the dance.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome.
So those are kind of things on my list. But I'm going back to Mexico because I bought a car there, and all my friends are there, and it's kind of familiar. So I'm going to do at least 6 weeks, maybe 3 months, depending on things back there, and then I'll be back here for when the weather turns nice again.
Yay! I like nice weather. All right, Keely, tell people how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, so a lot of things are transitioning, but you can find me on TikTok at girl stop crying, and on Instagram with the same girl stop crying, and that's where you find me.
I love it. Yeah. Keely, thank you so much for being here today. Guys, check her out. She's amazing, and I will see you guys all next week.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Creative Nomad Show. If you have any questions about this or any other episode, go to creativenomadshow.com. There's also a link at the bottom. If you are a radical and would like to be a guest, you can apply to be on the show there. Thanks again, and know that you are loved. Awesome Life, we look for the world changers who want to live in creativity, authenticity, and profitability whenever, wherever. So check out trueawesomelife.com and let's get started.